I came on here today. I wanted to talk to you about freedom. Remember, I have said in my other videos that every American needs to be talking about freedom because while we're all diverted talking about Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, we're slowly getting freedom after freedom taken from us. I want you, and I pray that you listen to me, that you talk to your families about freedom. If you have kids, I don't care if they're 3 years old, you start talking to them about freedom. And how do you do that? One thing that I thought about, because when my child was younger, I talked to her and I even let her see pictures that she said traumatized her of what was going on during slavery. And it's important that your kids understand the things that happen right here in our country. If you do not know anything about the Trail of Tears, pull it up and let your kids, you talk about it, let your kids see what happened and how Native Americans were treated in the Trail of Tears when they were all gathered up and walked across the whole United States and put on in little territories. Everything they had was taken from them. Many of them did not make the journey. Understand that. What was that all about? That was because they had lost their freedom, their basic human freedoms. I'm not even getting to civil rights. I'm talking about basic human freedoms. Talk to the people from Japan that were put in internment camps during World War II. Right here in our United States. And then let's even talk about the people who came here from Europe that were indentured servants. That meant that they were owned by whomever paid their way or whatever they owed, their families owed them for, until that was paid up. Talk about the all of the people that came here and went through all of these struggles just to be free in the United States. And then talk to Black people, and if you don't know, read about the Middle Passage. Read about how people were gathered up, and these people were in their homelands, and some of their own people gathered them up, sold them to slave traders, and they were put on ships. They were strapped to the bottom of ships. And then they were dying. They didn't have bathrooms for them. So what did they do? They were dying in their own waste. Talk to your children about that. And the reason that you want to talk to your children about freedom, if you look slowly but surely, I just saw a video, and this is what made me make this video, where our vice president was saying that they had to do something about people's social media posts. The reason that you want to pay attention to that is because in England, they just arrested people for social media posts. And if you think that that's not a freedom that you should be concerned about, your First Amendment rights. I also saw our vice president talking about the first day she gets in office is signing an executive order to ban our abilities to defend ourselves. That is what has kept us free all of these years. Now you're looking at all of these attempts, them bringing in over 20 million people to vote in our elections. Now, I cannot go to Mexico or anywhere else and vote, but they're talking about bringing in people so that they can circumvent the rules of our elections. It is time for every American to talk about freedom. I do not care what race you are, what political affiliation you have, your religion, your gender, all of that. Because if they're taking freedoms, understand, the ruling class will take freedoms from everyone, including Democrats and Republicans. They will take freedoms, including those of us that are heterosexual and transgender. They will take freedoms from everyone. So it's time for you to talk about freedoms. Talk about it to your families, your friends right now. Everybody needs to talk about freedoms because the wealthiest people in the world have a plan for us. And believe me, it has nothing to do with what's that Agenda 2025. It's an agenda that they've worked on for almost 100 years. It's time for you to talk about freedom.